Good evening, everyone. Got a minute to go. Oh, here we go. Once again, good evening. Mary, thank you for co-hosting tonight and all of your dana, all your generosity. And thank you all for joining us. Your presence, as I say most every week, is a real gift. I was told a brief story by someone who had been on a month-long practice period, actually the month of March at Spirit Rock, and had felt, because they had a very easy work meditation, yogi jobs, that's what they're called, they had the feeling that they weren't giving much to the Sangha. But at the end of the retreat, several people walked up to that person and thanked them for their steadfast presence in the late night practice or in the early morning practice, just being there, just showing up. And I really do think of us as showing up together as a real gift, as part of our practice of dana, of generosity. So thanks for your presence. Love for those who are willing to have their cameras on, say hello to each other, and let the community hear your beautiful voices, unique.
Hi,
And maybe where you're
everybody.
calling from.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Big love from Nashville. Big love from Nashville.
Hello, Jerry.
Yeah. Yay.
Love from Santa Barbara.
Beautiful day on the coast.
Hey, everybody. Evening.
Hey, from Sausalito. Anyway, love seeing your faces. In fact, this is the first time in a month or more that I've been had a normal size computer screen. So I've been on a little tiny laptop, and now I can see you, and it's just warming my heart, and really happy we get a chance to practice together. It's just quite remarkable how I just stepped in from the garden on my way into the office, and went from the garden and then to the world of yogis, and each of you inviting us into your spaces, into your home, a kind of intimacy that is something that is unique to this format. And so again, thanks for your presence. And as always, we will try to remember what needs to be remembered, try to remember that in the midst of this what seems to be always a rather troubling world, but especially in our face right now, but in the midst of that there is always the capacity to both drop into the natural peace and ease that is the natural peace and ease of our nature, as well to invite in, to turn toward what is hard for us to be with, what we often will distract ourselves from. And so we bring it all home here, home in being aware, home in being with the presently arising experience, and all the while, all that accomplished by not lifting out of this moment, all that accomplished by just releasing whatever happened before, releasing whatever will happen, and just relaxing into the ever-present wakefulness and clarity that you are. And then nurturing that, getting used to it and stabilizing the capacity to be aware. And the best way to locate ourselves here, to step out of time in a way, the best way to do that is to find, just first to find that in us which is aware. Just know, wow, here I am, aware. And then find what also is the vessel of awareness, you could say, which is this, what the Buddha called this fathom-long body. So find your body. Find the experience of being aware and aware in the body. So to be able to feel the body from the inside, we have to let go of the image of it and feel it. And that can be made more accessible by letting our eyes close softly. And letting the idea of the body melt away and let ourselves experience directly the feeling of aliveness, vibration, pulsing. Not really capturable in concepts and words. It's just a felt sense. Noticing how when the felt sense of these sensations are brought into awareness, there is a gathering, a stilling, a steadying. You can almost feel the impact of our attention on this field of sensations. They become more obvious and you begin to sense perhaps a feeling of stillness, but not forced, a gentle and relaxed stillness. And interestingly enough, with the stilling of the body becomes a steadying of our attention. And when attention comes together with these sensations, there's a calming, the potential for a calm abiding in this experience. And to support the continuity of being aware, to support the continuity of this settling, stilling, of calming, we can connect with and sustain our attention through the duration of our body's in-breath, however that's felt, and the out-breath, however that's felt. And letting each breath be a support to emptying our mind of its preoccupations of past, of future, and entering into direct experience of this unfolding now. Just this breath, just this moment. Just letting our body and breath call us here. Remain anchored to this body experience as long as it lasts. Knowing that other experiences will also arise and become known in awareness, sounds and moods, and thoughts, other sensations. We let them all enter into the field of awareness. We turn toward all experiences with a welcoming, kind, and interested attention. And continuing to notice how everything arises, changes, fades. Each breath, each sound, each mood, each thought, everything is changing. We just enter into that world of change. Just this moment, just this experience of changing breath, or whatever is predominant. If you realize that you've been daydreaming, lost in thought, celebrate the fact that mindfulness has rearisen and allowed you to notice that you're now here again. Use that opportunity to settle your mind back into your body back into your awareness, with no judgment, just this moment. Words can never capture the direct experience of body and breath, the felt sense. We intimately feel the texture, the in-breath and the out-breath. Going beyond the world of concepts into immediate and direct experience. And if we feel the experience of dullness, sinking mind, we sense it. What's that like? We respond with refreshing ourselves, beginning again. If we're feeling strain or agitation, restlessness, we feel it. We let that direct experience be the cause of us to refresh ourselves and soften and ease. Everything in the service of bringing a non-contentious, non-judgmental awareness to this experience just as it is. Just this moment. Just this in-breath. Just this feeling, sitting. In the last couple minutes of our sitting, just let yourself bathe in the living present, the only reality. The past is imaginary, future is imaginary. Really is only this. Just let yourself rest your weary, time-driven mind in this natural peace and ease. No strain to get here, you are always here. Nothing to do or undo. Just be aware here. Sorry. Just testing your equanimity. I'm sure for most of you it was just sound, no big deal. We have great pleasure to sit with you and remember, as I said earlier, remember what needed to be remembered. And what I remembered, and just a stray thought before we do a few minutes of questions, I just remembered the stress that comes from living so much of our lives in conceptual, in thinking reality. I think one of the biggest stressors is the view of ourselves in time, that we have come from the past, that we're passing through here on our way to the future. This narrative creates tension. Time is running out. Not sure I'll get where I'm going. The present time becomes like a pass-through on our way to somewhere else. So there's never a time for rest in that going. And as Eckhart Tolle put it, the present becomes one of three things: means to an end, an obstacle, or the enemy. And this is our only reality. In truth, there has never been a past, never been a future. There have only been unfolding present moments. There's only now. So that view of ourselves in time, although it's a wonderful thing to be able to think of ourselves as having been somewhere and going somewhere, all that takes place in a present moment experience. Past is just thoughts in real time. Future, thoughts in real time. So if I'm entranced by that view of myself in time, that narrative that I'm somebody who's come from somewhere and going somewhere, I notice that the residue of that is tension. And I notice that the effect of just stepping out of that narrative of time into just the way things are, or even just noticing, oh, that's a thought of time, that's a thought of past, that's a thought of future, that's a thought of present. In the noticing, in the immersion, in the openness and simplicity of real time, I could just feel my nervous system unwinding, unraveling, just settling. And we may have all kinds of innocent reasons to plan and vision and remember and all wonderful things. But if we lose that sense of it all happening right here, we don't actually live our lives. We live in our imagination. So I was really grateful to step out of that narrative of having come from somewhere, going somewhere, and just let myself drop into direct experience. What happens to time when we're here? Where is the past now? Where's the future now? Even where is the present now? Another idea. So I don't know about you, that may unsettle you for a moment, but if you really get used to that, as something really settles in the heart. I feel closer to you. I feel closer to life, right where it's touching me. It's so easy to miss while we're doing what John Lennon said, life's what's happening while we're busy making other plans. So anyway, that's all. That was just that stray thought from the sitting. Probably could have kept it to myself, but I figured that maybe you also get caught in the trance of time and enjoyed stepping out of it for a few minutes. And may we all continue to live in the only reality, which is now. So any questions, comments about your practice, anything that you noticed during the sitting or anything about the instructions that were offered, any Dharma point that you'd like to speak of or like me to speak of? Joel, thanks for breaking the ice. Glad to see you as always.
What you just said rings a bell. We're facing a major decision that's very real and going to affect the rest of our lives. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been just churning around it. And I mean, it's a real decision. It's not, if we don't make the decision, that's a decision. And, but it occurred like 2 nights ago, after we watched some TV or something. I said, for the last 2 weeks, nothing's been any different. We're still here. It hasn't been any different. I've been all stressed out and preoccupied and not sleeping. And but the decision is real. So I guess any comments you have about balancing the reality of making a decision with living in the present, and can you talk a little bit about the antidotes to worry and agitation?
Well, I feel for whatever you've been through or whatever you're about to go through, without knowing the details of whatever it is. I didn't hear the very first part of what you said. Maybe you gave some content, but I think whatever it is that we're going through, it obviously the and this is for everybody, the one thing that this is not about making decisions so much, but as remembering that whatever we're going through only happens a moment at a time. And I think that you a little bit discovered that in your 2 weeks. They're still just moments, just unfolding moments. And it's just always useful to remember that I can't take care of the one that happened before, and I really can't take care of the one that happened next, except to perhaps contemplate what would be a wise way to live my life, what a wise choice to make. Now, I can contemplate a wise choice, but what I've discovered, and maybe you are as well, is that choices seem to be made, but no chooser. The notion that I have to make a choice or we have to make a choice often creates this view that I'm somebody who's apart from life, who's kind of alone in all of this, and I have to figure it out. And so it tends to engage the rational mind a lot, and it tends to get very bound up in our identity as the chooser, as the decider. And often that makes decisions, because they're so driven by rational mind, it makes decisions really hard for them to be made, because decisions tend to be made when there's enough information gathered, a decision comes, but nobody who decides. And of course, the identity will co-opt that intuitive process by saying, I decided. I had a really hard time deciding, but then I decided. But if we really looked at that under a microscope, moment to moment, we would see that all these conditions came together and a decision was made. And just as in the same way that if you put your body under a microscope, you wouldn't find anything here. If you put a decision under a microphone, you won't find any chooser. So the more we understand the Dharma, the way things are, that things arise according to conditions, dependently arising according to information, toward the best facts that are available, I think, can sometimes decrease the amount of stress that comes in making decisions. We pretty much trust the process. The Native Americans say, stay behind the medicine. We don't try to push the river. We just keep gathering. And sometimes it is a decision just gets made for you. Sometimes conditions come together and then there's that sense of, oh yes, this is it. But still no chooser. So, it's so funny during this thing. Maybe this is from a conversation with my very wise wife. We talk a lot about this sense of, there's a whole languaging system about the divine. Let the divine work. Let the universe work. And I was thinking of the Carrie Underwood sign or song called "Let Jesus Take the Wheel." That sense I can't do it alone. I'm part of a system of interdependent conditions, and this sense of doing it all alone is just it's a misunderstanding of how deeply connected I am to conditions that are in some ways outside of my control. So just whatever your version of non-self, non-separate, interdependent, let Jesus take the wheel, let the universe, however you want to see it, that can sometimes be useful.
Yeah, that's spot on, and I know that. And so thank you for the reminder. And I think, as you're talking, I think the pressure really has been to eliminate the uncertainty, the discomfort of the uncertainty of letting it evolve. Because the truth is, there's no decision that has to be made now. and letting it evolve. This is about moving into a retirement place, but and letting, we've done some things, letting that evolve over 2 or so years. That's really uncomfortable because we don't know and so it's like this pressure to kind of nail it down. And I think that's what causes that which is impossible to do actually. And that's what causes the anxiety.
The pressure to nail it down. Yeah. I was going to say, try to have some, especially a decision like that, try to have it, and may be counterintuitive, to try to have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Howie. What about, can you comment on worry and agitation a little bit?
Oh, worry and agitation. Well, worry and agitation are they're in some ways they are basically saying to yourself that you're not capable of allowing the unfolding of things. And so it's a kind of self-harm. It causes us tension and stress, and then we easily forget the nourishment and the abundance that is there, the wisdom, the intuition that's there for us to navigate life moment to moment. We're basically saying, I can't deal, and you can. And so if I could, an antidote to worry is faith, confidence, is this is not straight Buddha Dharma, but this is kind of what felt like I wanted to say. Yeah, faith. I don't mean faith in how things will turn out. It means faith in your capacity, which is just boundless. Anyway, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Mary, looks like you had your hand up.
Okay, I've got a voice now. This was really a great talk, and I really felt. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, beautifully.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. I think I also have, and it may be because we're having a lot of high winds here, which kind of makes you feel a little agitated. But I also have had some situations where I felt like, oh, I don't know how to deal with this, or, what is the right direction to go, whatever, nothing that major, just kind of sort of a puzzlement for me in a sense, And I do know this was so good because I do know when I just meditate and, put it aside and act from that place, it's always right. Always right. But sometimes I think we feel like, oh, I have to do something, and we don't quite know what to do, and then we get into our heads, and we look at the past, we look at the future, and we're trying to analyze it with our little mind, and
Yeah.
it just happens, we don't even realize it, and we're gone, we're off and running. And I really, really appreciate this beautiful talk tonight. It was exactly what I needed to be reminded of. And very well said. Thank you so much, Howie.
Thank you.
Very grateful.
Thank you. There's something that you triggered in what you said. Now I can't remember what it was, but
about it's always right. when I trust that bigger mind,
well, I think by and large we have low ambiguity tolerance. I have low ambiguity tolerance. I'll
yes.
speak for myself.
Yes.
And so not being able to feel comfortably feeling ambiguity, not knowing.
Yes.
I've, my whole world of retreats has gotten kind of turned upside down, and how I don't know how it's going to unfold, and I can tell that in some way it's a little unsettling.
Yes.
And but if I just kind of feel that, that's momentary, and then I settle back into that meditative knowing that the things will unfold and fine. And like you said, what you said is the sense is I have to do something. And it just reminded me of the title of one of Sylvia Boorstein's books, Don't Just Do Something, Sit There.
Yes.
So
Yes.
everybody, another endorsement of Sylvia's book.
That's exactly it. It's the ambiguity. You're kind of faced with something that you really don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And it creates a little anxiety. And it is hard sometimes to remind yourself to sit through that.
Yeah, but a good thing to remember, ambiguity is a changing condition. It's just a mood. It's a mental state. So even when things are undecided, uncertain, there are moments when it feels ambiguous and worrisome, and moments when it doesn't. So we just try to stay very momentary, and then I think things are a little more workable.
Thank you, Howie.
Okay. Let's see, gallery. Okay, last call. Okay. Well, thank you for bringing your hearts and lives to us. It's in some ways, it's a vulnerable thing to speak the truth about our predicament, but isn't it Krishnamurti who said it's the truth that liberates, not our effort to be free. So whatever it is. There's a person named Robert who is new, who typically I don't answer questions through the text. However, I would tonight if you can be, let's see. Oh, why do our thoughts appear to hold so much gravity on attention, the expense of the present moment? Well, that's a great question. I think that mostly because our thoughts are going unnoticed. Thoughts that go unnoticed tend to create a virtual universe, and we literally incarnate in the world of our thoughts. And if, on the other hand, there is developing quality of comprehension, of real-time mindfulness, fullness of mind, kindfulness, kind attention to what's actually happening in your mind, and you get to know it, they don't hold as much power. They just show themselves to be thoughts, planning thoughts, remembering thoughts, worrying thoughts, much more workable than when they go unnoticed. So I think they hold the gravity of attention because we're actually not attending to them with clear comprehension because of absent-mindedness. And all of that is very conditioned. We're conditioned to either be mindful or not. And because our conditioning is we're so steeped in conditioning that we have to be very kind and forgiving about how much we can be carried along by the stream of distress, the stream of thoughts, but at the same time, very inspired to begin to notice, to make that shift from being carried along by our thinking to noticing what we're thinking, having the habit of clearly comprehending our thinking mind. Then there's nothing there really. Anyway, I'm not sure if that spoke to your question, but we have to have a few announcements right now and a short break, and then some stray thoughts to end the evening. Mary, it's up to you.
Yes, sir. Okay, so we've been asking you to save the date for the last few weeks for the next half day. We have it's now set up for registration. The name of the half day is Give Peace a Chance. It is on April 30th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's just a wonderful opportunity just to really settle into your practice for 4 hours. And if you haven't been, try it out. And those of you who've been, join us again. So I will have the registration link. It's in the email reminder, and I'm going to send it to you in a moment. And then, of course, the other reminder is always about Donna. And as Howie was pointing to earlier, we're in this beautiful field of Donna whenever we gather together. Howie or whoever teacher is holding the space, they offer their wisdom, their time, their love of the Dharma, and in turn, you often offer your presence to each other, and also you help with financial support. Mission Dharma is here solely through the support of the Sangha. So we appreciate whatever you can offer. Of course, there is no obligation, but we thank you very much in advance, and I will put that information also in the chat box. So back to you, Mr. Cohn.
Thank you. I was contemplating today whether to say this, but typically with including Facebook and Facebook Live and Mission Dharma, there's usually 75, 80 people or so. We're a little lower tonight. And I would say what we have noticed, just to give you a heads up, one, thank everyone in advance for any generosity, and thank you for any past generosity. We really wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your ongoing support. But typically every week, and I know people give in different ways, but typically there are about 8 or 9 people who offer each week. And out of that many people, it seems like somehow that we're the community, sometimes we wonder whether the community is getting the memo of how interdependent we are. So I say that not as a, putting out my alms bowl or begging bowl. It's not trying to solicit. It's really trying to, as Mary was saying, just to encourage a contemplation of the of Dana, of the interdependence of, at the time of the Buddha, those who offered teachings were completely dependent on their requisites, their robes, their food, everything dependent on the support of the community. And we've tried to keep that alive here, but somehow it doesn't always translate. Again, I'm not always comfortable talking about this because it sounds like an ask, so to speak, but it's really about wanting this culture of this gift economy, this culture of Dana, to really take root in our country, so that we can break out of our fee for service model of charging and putting a price on things. We want to practice generosity. Anyway, thanks for listening. And if we could take 2 minutes just to forget everything you've heard so far and find your body again. And if your body needs a little stretch, if it needs a little bio break, feel free. And I will, in exactly 3 minutes, I will start again and try to end the evening with a little antidote to worry and anxiety. Okay, thank you. Thanks for sticking around. Joel and Susan spoke about worry and anxiety. And I think it's natural to feel worried about where our world is going. This is really quite maybe it's the way it always is, but it seems really in our face how all the kinds of craziness in this world, things that we maybe thought were kind of unthinkable are happening, this wholesale killing. And I know that's happens all the time in other parts of the world, but somehow it's more in our face these days. And then just the hold that the authoritarianism is taking in this world, the racism and the xenophobia and the homophobia and the anti-Semitism. There's just so much that is hard to bear, hard to deal with. And a lot of uncertainty about our climate, about our own livelihoods, our own lives. So it's natural to be a little bit unsettled. And by and large, in the Dharma, we shout from the hilltops that, yeah, in spite of everything being so uncertain, with the potential of living in a kind of fight or flight or freeze or fear, there's a possibility moment by moment to just empty, to be empty, to be without anxiety about imperfection of the world showing up in the way that we want it to. And that's accessible moment to moment. But our emptying can sometimes turn into bypassing. Our emptying can turn into a subtle aversion to the world not being made in our image, not being the way we want it to be. And that what the Buddha called the cause of suffering, wanting things to be different than the way they are, that goes unnoticed, that actual feeling of resistance to life the way it is, can actually get stronger if we're using emptying as a bypass or as an escape from the stress of the world. So we use emptying, presence, not as an escape, but as an entering into I think last week I spoke of this, I don't want to elaborate on it too much, but an entering into the fullness of the unfolding present, not as an escape, not to try to get away. And part of the fullness of the present is also the experience of welcoming the experience of anxiety, of worry, of anger, of frustration, all those things, letting them be felt. Now, that's not easy. That is not easy to let it all in. Even though there's a lot of good news in that, the difficulties becoming our path when we experience their momentariness, when we experience them not as monoliths, but as the presently arising experience that isn't constant. And that's one of the things we realize when we start to let in the heartbreak, let in the frustration, let in the whole range of feelings, is we see that they're momentary. And one of those other things that we tend to get entranced in our mind is recreating over and over that the world is one way. And and that kind of view of the world is more monolithic, as the pain more monolithic, the world more monolithic. It comes from not seeing that moment to moment the world is really just an idea. The world is not anything that can be reduced to one thing. So all that's wonderful if we can learn to both be empty of our usual preoccupations, let ourselves enter into the unfolding present, feel things. But to me, one of the greatest and unappreciated antidotes for how much stress comes with these times is, and something that we were really able to exploit when we were in person, something that we've really been deprived at online, and that's humor. That's the experience of shared laughter, of the delight in seeing the absurdity of things together, something that doesn't land quite as well online. So I can tell that my own tone, my own flavor has gotten a little bit more serious over the last few years. And of course, there's been some serious things that we've been dealing with. But I wanted to bring in, I think, maybe the most useful antidote tonight to all of our worries and anxiety, and that's a little bit of humor. And I wanted to break the ice with some humor from, I don't know how you think of him, but I think his humor is incredible, and that is the humor of Woody Allen. So I've got two Woody Allen passages for you to contemplate tonight. The first one is, I'll just read the whole thing and just let it digest. In a 1979 essay called My Speech to Graduates, Woody Allen wrote, "More than any other time in history, mankind faces a crossroads. One path leads to despair and utter hopelessness, the other to total extinction. Let us pray we have the wisdom to choose correctly." That's funny. One more from Woody Allen before I move on. "Every day I think about dying, about disease, starvation, violence, terrorism, war, the end of the world. It helps keep my mind off things." It's so sad that we can't just laugh together. We could, but it sounds very jarbled. And then in terms of the Dharma, it's very easy for the Dharma to take on this very pious, heavy, just straitjacket experience of people being busy being Buddhists, or being busy being a practitioner. And I found that it was very, very useful. Oh no. It was very useful to revisit an interview that was given, I think it's at least 20 plus years ago. An interview that was given to a young Tibetan Lama, a teacher who was a lama is somebody who's a well-practiced teacher. But this lama's name was Pema Jones. He was, at the time of this interview, he was 13 years old. And he was born in Tibet, but was I think half born to a Tibetan mother and a Caucasian father. And he gave this interview in Wyoming, where he was a little league baseball player and a lama, a Dharma teacher. So here's the interviewer. I forgot his name now. He said, "It must be hard enough to be a 13-year-old boy in America, not to mention a Tibetan lama. How do your friends and family treat your connection to the Dharma?" It's kind of weird. My brothers, I have two older ones, tease me about it. They call me Shrimpoche. You know, Rinpoche means precious one, which is what often lamas are called. They call me Shrimpoche. My sister is nice and even helps me by taking my phone calls when I'm at school and scheduling interviews with my students. The kids at schools don't know I'm a lama. I would never tell them. Why wouldn't you tell them that you're a lama? And this is where it's serious, but it's also the edge of serious and funny. I get dissed enough as it is just being Asian. They call me names like Nip and Gook. It's not like when I was growing up in India. Everyone here in Wyoming is white. I consider it a good day when some goof in a pickup truck doesn't try to run me over. Well, how do you deal with people trying to hurt you? Well, that's the way it is around here. It's pretty safe, but us Asians need to stick together. Some of my best friends in our gang are Chinese. It's strange to have Chinese friends when your family has been treated so badly by the Chinese, but this is America. I got to live here with my own karma. Some skinhead doesn't care whether I'm Tibetan or Chinese. He just wants to stomp my head. You're in a gang? It's just for protection. We need to stick together. It's like if a guy threatens one of us, there's nothing we can do by ourselves. But by getting a bunch of us together, we can defend ourselves. We don't have guns or nothing, and we don't do drugs or rob people. Have you ever gotten into trouble? No, but my brother got picked up by the cops for beating up this kid who dissed my sister. Can we talk about something else? Sure. Do you like your students? Yeah, they're all right. They're kind of funny. In what way? Well, they say they come for the teachings, but when they get into the interview room, they talk about all this other stuff. What other stuff? They mainly talk about the opposite sex. Men talk about problems with their wives. Women talk about their husbands and boyfriends. I don't get it. I've got little enough time as it is with school and Little League and my chores, and they want me to be a shrink or something. And I'm only 13. I mean, I've got girlfriends and all, but what do I know about relationships? So what do you tell them? Well, I talked to my dad about it. And he gave me a stack of business cards from one of his friends, a psychologist. I just hand one of the cards and ask them about their practice. I put my name on the back of the card, and whenever he gets a new client, he takes me and my brothers and sisters to Dairy Queen. It's cool. Buddhism is no big deal. It's like being a doctor. There's suffering, you diagnose it, give someone a prescription and hope they go to the drugstore. No one in America wants to go to the store, though. They all want to be pharmacists and sit around discussing different types of medicine. What's with that? Take some medicine, come back next week. I mean, don't get me wrong, Buddhism is choice. So you're fully qualified to teach? Sure, I mostly teach Tonglen, giving and receiving. It's what I think works best at times when people are trying to kill you, or too many changes are happening at once, which seems to be the case in this country. You're basically a giant filter, like on an air conditioner. You suck in the bad air, breathe out the pure air. I see myself like an air conditioning repair dude. I teach people how to filter and cool things down. So if you can cool things down, why do you need to be in a gang? It's like one of those Zen riddles. It's a samsara nirvana thing. Yeah, some guy just dissed me, and I tell myself that he really doesn't exist separate from me. You know, he's dissing himself. That works fine, but what happens when he stops talking and starts beating on me? You need to be able to take care of yourself so you don't get killed. We live in samsara, and spacing out about nirvana doesn't help anyone. So don't you see any contradictions in that? The Dalai Lama, for example, constantly teaches nonviolence, despite being terribly oppressed all his life. Oh yeah, right. The Dalai Lama is an awesome old dude and a killer teacher, but he's got like a dozen bodyguards around him when he's traveling. What do you think would happen if some butthead pulls his gun on His Holiness? Do you think those dozen bodyguards will practice nonviolence or shoot the guy in the arm or bust some karate move on him? No way, man. The bodyguard sees this dweeb with a gun and he's going to pop a cap in his ass. Anyway, it's so fun to read that in real time, but it's funny and poignant. So it can be both poignant, painful, and funny. And as Wes Nisker, lovely Wes says, or not Wes, but Wavy Gravy, he said, if you don't laugh, it's not funny. And speaking of Wes, he says, earlier, I've got his quote with me tonight, so be patient, and then we'll call it an evening since we've passed our allotted time. I'll leave you with Wes's short line. Before I became a Buddhist, I worried about my life. Now I worry about my next life. So may we all develop a sense of humor. May we all share our joy, and may we all really enter and inhabit our lives and not miss it. And may we balance this world of sorrow with more peace, more happiness, more joy. Thanks for hanging out. Please feel free to unmute, say goodnight to each other.
Good night from San
Thanks,
Antonio.
Howie. That was
Good
good.
night.
Good night, everybody. Thanks, Howie.
Good night, Howie. Take care,
Good night.
everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.